meeting the families, the comment was made that the challenge isn't so much the system as it is learning English. There's not a desire anymore to learn English because they don't have to.
You know, I often say, and I may even say it in my opening remarks later today, that coming to America is about more than coming to get a job.
Yeah.
And the first part of coming to America, it really is to learn English. We cannot, and it's not because there's some superiority complex about English versus any other language. You know, I was in China in November for 8 days, on the ground in 8 days. There are more people learning English in China than anywhere else in the world. And there are more people in China than anywhere else in the world. But because that's the language today of commerce and prosperity. Learning English in the U.S. means that you're opening up doors, you're opening up opportunity that you won't have if one doesn't know English and if one isolates themselves to one's natural community.
So let me ask you this. Do you see yourself as an underdog in this race?
As a matter of fact, I probably see myself as the favorite.
You
got to come get me.
Moments that we're there to kind of do this and say, we got to go into the homes because that's where we think the change happens.
You know, Ronald Reagan used to say, first win the argument, then win the vote. And you win the argument around dinner tables, sitting at the sofa, sitting in the lounge chair with your feet up,
right,
and just having a conversation. One thing that we've done as a party all too often is that we have been so proud of our policy positions, and I think rightfully so, that we wanted to run up to somebody who's an African American, run up to somebody who's Hispanic and say, look at what we believe on school choice, and look at what we think about life, and look at what we think about taxes and spending and things of that nature, and have a policy conversation. And ultimately, you'll have a policy conversation. But we're going to win more voters by having a people conversation. By having, I used to tell folks all the time, if you want to expand the party, we should, invite some Dems over, some African Americans, some Latinos over to watch the Cowboys. And, folks have a hamburger, drink a beer, root for the Cowboys or against the Cowboys, I guess if that happens to be your flavor, and let everybody see that folks are just people.
Yeah.
Then we'll have a policy conversation later on. But the first thing that we have to do in the Black community and Hispanic community is make them know that we're just folks. Somebody once said a while ago, people don't care what you know until they first know that you care.
Right.
And so that becomes the first challenge that we have.
Well, so that takes us to the next, and really probably the root of the problem in both the Hispanic and the Black communities, is that there's no, in my opinion, the parental skills are gone. Kids are
raising kids.
And the value system is just being depleted, destroyed right there before the kids even have a chance. So how do you tell parents, wake up,
I think we do a couple of things. We have to provide people with the tools. But I think intuitively, all of us have a desire. Is that Deborah? Okay. As all of us have a desire to live our lives consistent with personal responsibility. We all want to be in control of our life. Some folks are afraid of it. Some folks have failed in the past. But there's something I think naturally, intuitively, where we all want to be in charge. What we have to do is to provide folks with the tools of success and remind them of the lessons of success. You mentioned marriage earlier. One of those lessons, wait until you find the right mate, get married, stay married, take care of your kids. Something that we don't do enough of in having a conversation in the Black community is you tell people, find a job, any legitimate job, take it and work up from there. Learn something new every day. What we have to do is continue to have a conversation within our community that is a conversation where we're trying to create makers and not takers. And a conversation where what we're trying to do is to make sure that folks understand that it's a whole lot better if you're running your life than somebody else is running it for you. And some of those tools Just look at policy arenas in education. I'm the product of public school teachers, but my parents exercised school choice. And there's something unique that happened. I used to be the president of the board of a Catholic school for 4.5 years. 200 young African American kids, most of them weren't Catholic. In the middle of Fort Worth, we outperformed the public schools in the donut around us because there's something unique when grandma, auntie, or mama, or Uncle Joe says, I want my kid to go to that school because that parent gets engaged in that school. And people say, well, yeah, but every parent won't exercise that kind of initiative. But it's interesting. When you see this kid performing, people next door hear about it.
Right.
And sometimes they say, well, I want to do what they did. And they do. But we got to create tools for people to excel. When we had the healthcare debate, much of our concern was about the overreach of the federal government, about the cost of Obamacare, and all of those were appropriate. There's also something else. When you take my health out of my hands and give it to a government bureaucrat or give it to an insurance clerk, then I no longer think about my health as much as I did if you gave me, if I had a health savings account, and that's my money in there. And I know, okay, if I get sick, I go put down some money. And oh, by the way, if I exercise, if I don't eat the fatty foods, okay, then I won't have to spend as much on it. It fundamentally changes the equation when I'm in charge. So we have to create the tools for people to take control of their lives.
And that's really the bottom line. The gravy train is got to stop, and mindset of
first of all, we can't afford it any longer. Right. If we ever could, we can't afford it today.
And I appreciate the interview and the time. I know you're
if I
busy.
If I can help in any way, let me know.
Yeah, well, we'll be in touch for sure.
Even aside from the race, I mean, if I can be helpful with you.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Did you get that?
It's all right.